Hello my loves, I'm Ellie Frost and I help people rapidly and radically heal and transform during and after narcissistic abuse. And we're going to talk today about how the narcissist cannot offer you anything real, right? Who they pretended to be at the initial stage when they were love bombing you, or when they love bomb you, which love bombing doesn't have to be a great big gesture. It's just when they pretend to be the person you want them to be, right? In order to manipulate you and keep you on the hook, yeah? Keep you trying to resuscitate the person you thought they were in the relationship, even though they're now doing the opposite of what you thought they were, what you thought they stood for. A narcissist at the beginning, or when they're trying to love bomb you, will mirror your values. Yeah, they know what you want from them. They will mirror and pretend to be that person and then shatter your dreams to keep you trauma bonded. So nothing's real in this relationship. This is one of the biggest traumas we have to go through. Yeah, nothing was real except for how you felt. How you feel, how you felt is real. You may have had real love for this person, but the challenge is you never really knew who this person was, right? They're not even a fake self, a false self. They're a non-self. They literally will change who they are like chameleons according to who they want to impress or who they want to manipulate. So one of the biggest things we have to overcome in ourselves as part of our healing is like the realization that this wasn't real. How I felt was real, right? And I was being manipulated into an illusion. What I thought was going on a lot of the time probably wasn't. I maybe thought the narcissist loved me. I maybe thought they cared about me. I maybe thought, they wanted what I wanted. None of that was real. That's very traumatic to go through. Knowing that we've been dragged into a lie, yeah, manipulated into a lie. And because of cognitive dissonance, because the brain finds this very difficult to understand, like, two opposing ideas, like the brain can't hold on to at once. The narcissist loves me, the narcissist abuses me, or this is who I think they are and this is now what they're showing me, right? So we get very confused in this cycle. And for a lot of us, we don't want to believe the truth. Yeah? It's extremely jarring to believe that I've been with someone that was, where the basis of the relationship, who I thought I was with, was based on a lie. We didn't share the same values. Love, narcissist is incapable of giving you love, not true love, right? So how you feel about them is real, but how they felt about you wasn't, which is why they can discard you in an instant. And that's really brutal. Like, for most of us, it's very hard just to dismiss people out of our lives, especially people we've had connection with and experiences with, right? It takes a lot for, a person to often just get someone out of their lives, which is why a lot of us stay with the narcissist, right? Part of the reason. I mean, there's lots of reasons. But a narcissist can discard you like you were nothing. My dad did it to me. My partner did it to me. Sorry, I've got an itchy eye. And that's unbelievable, right? These people are not capable of the human emotions that we are when they can do things like that. Discards can be brutal, right? Especially the final one, because you think, did I mean nothing to this person? Like, they will literally dismiss you, do awful things to you. I've had terrible things done to me by narcissists, right? And at the time, I wasn't educated enough in what I was dealing with to understand that someone that loves you would never treat you like that. Yeah, I convinced myself that they didn't mean it, didn't know what they were doing, and I started normalizing abuse because that's what I'd known. And that's another danger of this cycle, right? We normalize abuse. After a while, we stop being shocked by it. It becomes our normality. This is another reason why a lot of people around you won't understand the dynamic with the relationship. I remember my friends at university, saying something about my father and they were just, disgusted by his behavior towards me. But it had become normal to me by then. It had become normal. I didn't know what else to expect. my standards were very low for how I got to be treated, right? And especially when it's parental, we learn this from a very young age. And then the likelihood is we're going to go into other unhealthy relationships. That might not have happened to you. The narcissist might have caught you at a time when you felt you were pretty emotionally healthy. You may have come from a different type of family, a loving family, right? But narcissists are great manipulators. Yeah. And, whether you've come from abuse or not, right? When you get into this cycle, abuse becomes normal to you. You become desensitized to it. Yeah. And because it's so hard to believe that this could be real, we cling on to the shared fantasy. We cling on to the idealized version of the narcissist, who we want them to be rather than who we really are. So we have to give ourselves a reality check, right? The narcissist is not who they say they are. I remember my dad used to boast to people and colleagues about, how he had 6 children. I mean, he'd abandoned most of them at various points in his life. But, he would project himself to be this great dad. But on the inside, that wasn't what was going on. And if you ever disagreed with him or weren't prepared to accept his behaviour, then obviously, like what happened to me, you get discarded. And many of us are the black sheep, the scapegoat, and the one that finally will call this behaviour out. And that's what I did in the end. So when you can accept, right, that you've been living a lie, that your relationship, how you felt was real, but what you thought of about them was not real, right? That you've idolized this person, whether it's a partner, a friend, a colleague, a parent. You've idolized them in some way because that's what they demand of you, right? They will talk a good game. They will trauma bond you. They will play with your emotions so that you start, vying, a lot of this relationship is built on, I remember with my dad, a lot of the time, he would dismiss me and I'd be chasing after him all the time, trying to get his love back, and that's what they do to you. So we idolize them and we chase after them. We want their affection back, right? Because we're trauma bonded to this person. We've been manipulated. But the version of them that's real is the version of them that is the majority of the relationship, the one that puts you down, devalues you, dismisses you, and actually will just literally discard you if you don't play ball. The more conscious you become, the more you work on yourself, the more you heal, the less you're going to want these people in your life and the more you're going to see through it, right? But it's a hard truth to accept. Nothing is real with the narcissist. It's all a game to them. It's all a game of power, domination, and control. It's all a manipulation. Right? And we project our empathy on them and we project good qualities on them when actually we've become desensitized a lot of the time to abuse. Lots of love, guys. I'll speak to you soon.